So welcome to the Kohli Day talk, which is we have been doing it from say 2021 onwards, and the kind of speakers we have been getting is only ramping up. So in 2021 we started with Grandmaster Vishwanathan Anand, who's also a five-time world champion in chess. So we had this chess and AI interactive session, and then we had Devi Tariq. Along the way, we have had Rahul Rastogi and I'm sorry, the UT Austin, Tamu, Texas professor. No, Leah Subramaniam and Subhara Kambampati. And last year, of course, we had the renowned gastroenterologist, Dr. Nageshwar Reddy, who had the second highest civilian award, right, in terms of Padma Bhushan. But nobody can, I mean, of course, we right now have the god or the founding father of computer vision himself, Professor Takio Kanade. And I request Director Professor Sandeep Shukla.
Well, first of all, thank you, Professor Takio Kanade, for coming and giving this talk. And we are very honored. And I'm happy to see that the room is almost full, because every time there is something happening, I see the students are absent. So today, actually, we have a lot of students, which is very good. And I do not, so Triple IT has many hidden gems inside it, and we discover as we go along. So today only I learned about, I know about the Kohli Center, but today I learned that it is actually consisting of CPT, cognitive science labs, data science lab, LTRC, machine learning lab, robotics research center, and C2S2, right? So how many of you knew that? They were all new. Okay, so and about FC Kohli, I remember 92, my brother was working, 93, my brother was working for TCS, and that time he was the chairman. So that's all I know about him. So today I was reading about him, and he's considered the father of Indian IT, right? So he actually started his career in 1951 in Tata Electric Company, and then he did a lot of computerized automation, and then he founded TCS. So it's pretty good, track record, I would say. So I think that it's a good thing that we are honoring the father of IT through this lecture series, and I am thankful to. We are all thankful to Professor Kanade again for being here and giving the talk. So let's hear from the expert. Thank you.
Am I audible to everyone in the back as well? Okay. So it is a profound honor to welcome you all to FC Kohli Day 2026. We are not just hosting a lecture today, it's a legend. We are so proud and overwhelmed. All of us after having spent 5 decades teaching machines how to sing, think, and move. Thank you, Kanade. In this room, Professor Kohli's work is fundamental to the field of computer vision. In the activities, he helped develop the methods and understand video. Actual evolution of phones to systems used in cell cards and smart broadcasts. Whatever technology we use today carries the legacy of his early research. So Kanade has received numerous honors recognizing his work. He is a recipient of the Kyoto Prize, Japan's highest private award for global achievement. His accolades also include the BBVA Foundation Frontiers Knowledge Award, the IEEE Founders Medal, and the Bow Academy and Prize for Achievement in Science. Beyond these honors, he is a fellow of the National Academy of Engineering and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. His work has consistently bridged the gap between theory and real world. He led the No Hands Across America project in 1995, where his team demonstrated autonomous driving by traveling 4,500 kilometers across the US. He also developed the iVision system, which gave millions of new fans virtualized reality view during the 35th edition of Super Bowl. As a former director of the Robotics Institute at Carnegie Mellon, he helped build a research community that continues to shape the future of AI around the world. Today, as we celebrate the spirit of innovation at IIIT Hyderabad, we are privileged to hear his reflections on curiosity, interdisciplinary thinking, and the bold ideas that transform our world. Please join me in a very warm welcome for Professor Takeo Kanade.
Thank you for good introduction. Do you hear me well? Okay, good. Okay, so I have worked on many topics, and I don't want to go all of them, but by using some of most representative ones, I want to talk about the fun and the research, which hopefully have made some impact to the world. And I want to share my experience with you. Now, I tend to talk long, and I have to warn you. Now, but hopefully I don't bore you. Now, if you begin to feel boring, then you can show it, then I will stop my talking. Okay. So, as I said, now, today face recognition is common everywhere. It's used from organizing your picture albums to automated recognition for passport control. Now, its beginning is, I claim, 55 years ago, my PhD thesis. I got my PhD 55 years ago. I think many of you were not even born. And indeed, this was recorded as the first automated face recognition program in many documents. One of those is the Sean Raviv's Wired Magazine 2020 article, which says the secret history of facial recognition. Secret history. Now, it doesn't mean that my contribution, it was secret. The reason that it has the word secret is actually before me, 1964, Dr. Woody Bledsoe actually mentioned that it's possible to do automated face recognition. It would be possible. At that time, there was no computer image recognition, so he actually used a tablet to actually code the location of the face contour and nose position, eye positions, etc., and typed in those coordinates into the computer. And by using those numbers, he said there should be possible to recognize by writing computer program. And for that matter, I did to actually realize that idea into by computer. Now, at that time, I have to tell you, back in 1972, there was no digital image. It's not today where you have a digital camera. I just plug into your computer, you got digital image. There was no image, digital image. Indeed, many computer science, indeed, there's no computer science at that time by most countries. In the research team, usually had only one digital picture, only one. And if your program successfully analyze that image, then you could write a paper. So at that time, recognition rate was always 100%, because by changing your parameters, it always successful. And if you test your program with 10 images, we proudly wrote in our abstract an introduction saying with a large scale experiment with 10 images. Now, I have to tell you, I actually used 1,000 images at that time. My professor actually collected 1,000 images in 1970 World Expo in Osaka. And my program was tested with 1,000 images. So at that time, it's a 3-order magnitude, large-scale experiment. And the program was written in assembler language. You know, have you ever written assembler language program? See, oh, good, all right. And it was about this thick with a line printer output. Many of you even don't know what the line printer is, but anyway, it was a program like that. Now, then I also did some work in face detection in mid-90s. And these programs are probably the ones which made this topic, face detection, as a mainline topic, because this program actually showed it's possible in a real sense with a rate higher than 95, 96%. So even showing face and orientation like these green box was the convention that these two papers began. Even the one which you see today with your cell phone. Now, it's interesting at that time. It's pretty good, yeah? But you see it failed here, but it detected here. Now, so if you think it hard, it's very interesting, isn't it? This is not a picture. This is not a face. This is a face picture, yeah? So face picture detection versus face detection is, those two are different. Recognizing whether it's a face picture or face is really hard. You can test with your own cell phone. Even today's cell phone, it cannot detect. If you actually point your cell phone to face picture, it actually shows square in it. Okay, so it's still very difficult problem. Now, what it can do today. This is 19. Okay. 2019 paper by Jonathan Phillips. My friend NIST worked on compare human and computer recognition. The task is to say whether these two pictures are the same person. Yeah? Very difficult problem. PJ, the first row, do you think they are the same person or different person? Different. Wrong. They are the same person. Now, the problem is so difficult. Even though I give a lecture so many times, I tend to forget the correct answer. So I have a cheating memo here, you see, with a small meaning they are the same, and these two are different. It's this problem. And he tested with 30 special FBI face examiners, real special person, and 30 general face examiners, and then 30 students, both like you, and then 4 face recognition program at that time. And the result is this. And this is how to read. This is actually histogram. So if you see 90%, and this width shows the number of people who scored 90%. Yeah. And that red point is median score. So this FBI specialists. Isn't that amazing? Let's say, so this area is 30, yeah? So this means about what? 6, 7, or 10 people actually got perfect score with those difficult problems. Okay, the worst and then median is about 92 or 3 median. So 15 middle score, the person is about that score. How about the general face examiner? Still good. 100% score is about, let's say, couple of people. Yeah, and the worst is 50. Students like this. Nobody could actually score 100%. The worst one is 40. Better than not asking. You see, this difficult. How about computer program? At that time, the best computer program scored about 96 or 7. So probably made only one mistake. So isn't this amazing? This program is indeed better than median of the special FBI examiner, meaning if that program is about top, 6th or 7th among 30 special examiner. And according to Jonathan, by 2025, computer program should be able to make 100% of this type of problem. So that's what it is today.
顔
Now,
というのは
I
我
might
々
be
が
actually
日常生活で最もよく出会う
for
対
face
象
face.
物なんですね。
This is
顔で
the
我々
video
が
that I created
認識したり
around 2008.
自分の感情
Title
や
is President
意思を
Obama Speaks Japanese.
でも顔を認識して検出して追跡して表情を理解するというのはなかなか難しいことなんです。いろんな顔がありますし、顔はこういろんな方向に
Now, though it was definitely fun, but the purpose of that video was more serious. My friend, Professor Jeff Cohn, who is a psychologist, was doing research using face communication. In other words, in communication, you see, when I talk and we say, this is what I did, and then most people, for example, nods, okay, and nodding and a smile. So, as a psychologist, I asked. He was saying that the timing of the nodding and the frequency of nodding, or whether one does nod while smiling or serious, how those variations affect other person's impression about the person. Yeah? And I asked him, how do you do? And he said, oh, it's easy. Get 2 people and ask one of them, please nod little later than usual. And then ask the other person, what do you think? And if they said, oh, I didn't like him. And then said, okay, when you nod little later than usual, other people don't like. I said, isn't that really scientific? Because there's no guarantee whether the person really nods late or early. Yeah. So, well, what we can do is actually to put those 2 people in 2 separate rooms, and one room has a camera and capture image, and then in between we have a computer program which changes timing of nods or changes the expression when from say smile to serious, and see how those changes affect the other person's impression. Now we can control the amount of changes because it's a computer program. We thought it's a scientific, and that was how we created. Yeah, it's a serious. But if you look back today, It's maybe the beginning of Zoom avatar.
And wait, a car appears
Now,
without a human.
Driverless
Anywhere
car, now different
navigate the
topic,
parking lot,
is
a
common
tricky
here
intersection,
with us today.
and then
This is US in San Francisco. If you go there and call taxi, then
relatively
real driverless taxi comes to pick you
now the
up.
cruise app.
You
Request
see,
ride.
there's no just
Things start without incident.
open,
Then we come to a busy
empty car.
intersection.
And
as
this
we
is
turn,
a
man
program, a
steps into the
TV
street
reporter.
quickly without
He
looking.
was actually tried, and then she is
an abrupt
reporting how
stop and jerk
scared
for me
it
as
was
But when we talk
to
to crews, they
be
say their
on
cameras were tracking the man the whole time, that he was never
driverless
in
car.
the car, and the car
So it's common, as you know,
programmed to.
in the US and I don't know, is India,
Well, the cruise car
does
successfully navigated that
it
situation.
have? It's
And
pretty bad.
safety issues from both
But
companies.
now
The rest of
China, they have it. Okay.
the car in
So
the neighborhood.
where, how did it start? And I claim the beginning. Oops. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Is
Destination and wait, a car appears without a human anywhere inside. The car navigates.
is about 42 years ago, we started at Carnegie Mellon called NavLab project for autonomous driving. In the beginning, with the DARPA funding, in the beginning, we used a small experimental vehicle like this. And actually, at that time, the computer was separate. So we actually had the license of a TV station. And the TV camera image was actually broadcast in Pittsburgh. And that video was actually captured in computer room and digitized and processed. And then the computer program decides how to move, and that instruction was sent by radio to that car, this one. And then it's very inconvenient for doing research. So we thought maybe we should put them together in one system, and we began to build this vehicle with an onboard sensor, onboard computer, and what we call onboard researchers, so that researchers share their fate with their own program. So they have to write very reliable program, and that's how we began to work. And we built the program, vehicle, NavLab 1 to 3, all the way to 10 for a long time. And so this is how progress was made. This is the beginning in the park next to Carnegie Mellon. It was barely moving, about 1 centimeter per second. So it was moving, that was the speed. And then it began to venture into the public road nearby and so on. And then even to suburban area with the ancient LiDAR, when, telecoms. And this is actually a LiDAR. There's a small one today. That's at that time. There was only 3 LiDARs in the world at that time, and this is one of them. And used to detect and stop. Now, that child I have to tell you, is a son of a person who wrote the program to stop in those situations. It's like William Tell, and then NavLab 5 with multi-sensors, and then began to control by PC, a laptop even. This is the lane keeping and obstacle detection. So car knows that this is the lane marker. So car knows it's in between the lane marker. Okay. And also detect the vehicle in front. So this is around 1992, 93-ish period, a long time ago. And even it can automatically change lanes. So now the car knows it's on, you see, it's in the right on the lane markers, and now move to between the two new lanes. It even detect the cars in the blind spot and so forth. So these were what we got in 1995. And then we actually demonstrated what we called No Hands Across America, 1995. So with that car, actually drove from Pittsburgh to San Diego, 2,800 miles, about 5,000 kilometers, 98.2% of which was driven by computer program. So it was an epoch-making event in the history of driverless driving, really. And indeed, there was a funny story. You know, Jay Leno? Jay Leno is a famous comedian at that time. He always used in his program from 11:30 to 12, late night show, I remember, by using newspaper articles. And this No Hands Across America was mentioned in LA Times. So you look at it. Here is article. Thanks to Carnegie Mellon University researchers, for the first time in the world, people can, while driving, take hands off from the wheel and do makeup, to drink coffee. And he said, how come that's the world in the first? In Los Angeles, people have been doing that for a long time. So we thought we should show it to him. And then we actually went to a studio and wait long time until we get them to show this car. That was a fun time. So that was in 1995. And so finally we got here. And this is today's driverless car. This is one example for a company, WeRide.ai, a Chinese startup. My students actually doing it. So I'm advising these people. So that just is now today. Unlike ours, it has 360 lidar, multiple camera, and so forth, and actually it captures up to 250 meter, 360 degrees. So what it can do is amazing. So this is where the car is, and while it's stopped at the intersection. The red is other cars, green pedestrians, and blue bicycle and bike. So it's even better than human. See, when I drive, I think I can look at only about this angle, and as far as 30 meters, that's probably the best I can see. But this car can see 360 degrees, 250 meters, and as you see, it's almost perfect. Okay. That's where it is today.
WeRide's robo-taxi easily passed this 2-hour test drive, but we are not resting on laurels.
So this is in Gansu City, China. I think video is actually slow or something like this. So it's pretty good, you know. So it's driverless car moved for long way. And I was interviewed by many articles and said, one of the people always asked, Professor Kanada, you were so future looking, 1980, that's almost 50 years, 45 years ago. You could anticipate driverless car No, I didn't. I thought 4 years would do. Indeed, I wrote the proposal to DARPA. According to that proposal, first year we do lane keeping. Second year we do, obstacle detection, other cars, and drive. Third year we take care of the pedestrians, etc. Fourth year we take care of a traffic rule, and the end of fourth year, complete driverless car. I think DARPA was probably wrong to even pay that proposal, but that's how it started, this project. Now, in today also, rotating replay in sports broadcast like this, in a good scene like this, Olympic and baseball is very common. I think, I'm pretty sure Indian broadcasters also use this kind of replay. Now, the beginning of this kind of replay is 2001, iVision in Super Bowl 35 in Tampa Stadium. We put 33 cameras in the second deck of the stadium, and they track the players and generate this spin view. This is really a big system. From here, top of scoreboard, it's very high, it's windy. I even climbed there. It's scary. From there to here, it's almost 100 meters. So it needs a big zoom lens, and those 35 cameras actually look at the same point. It's like movie Matrix. Have you ever seen movie Matrix? Huh? And in the highlight of that movie, there's a scene that the main character jump and spin. The way that is taken is in the studio. Many cameras are set, and then they look at the same point, and they take a picture. And then the right moment, they take picture at the same time. Okay, like this, and then they actually play the frame from this one, which look this one, which look this one, look this, and so forth. Therefore, you have an impression as if the person is spinning or you are rotating around them. Okay, so we want to do the same thing, but in the football, you cannot predetermine where is interesting play will occur. So instead of using fixed camera, we use robotic camera with a big lens, and that can change the orientation so that they are coordinated to see one point, and that matrix-like position move as game develops. That's what the system. And we built one and we used it. And this is what happened.
During today's coverage of Super Bowl 35, CBS Sports will introduce a new technology
2001.
iVision. It provides panoramic
He's
coverage.
a famous sports announcer, Jim Nantz.
Here at the Super Bowl, 30 robotic cameras have been mounted on the scoreboard and all along the upper deck at intervals of 7 degrees. Each camera feeds into one of the 30 specially designed digital
So here's the lineup of those
The
cameras.
images are then computer calibrated to
So at that time, this is a videotape recorder, not tape, but the video is still big. Today, you need only this much.
Kanade of Carnegie Mellon with designing the software that blends
And
30
this is me.
cameras into one dynamic panorama.
This is a
When I was young.
system. You have to have perfect idea of the direction, position of the cameras, and the relationship of the amount of zoom, amount of focus to the command that you give from the computer. And that is
And
one of the
see, I'm explaining how difficult it is.
Cuts back inside, across the 40 to about the 41-yard line.
Here it is. This is an example during the
This
warm-ups.
is the inside of the
Just a
control room.
moment ago. The pass from Davis, and look at the way it can whip around. We're all looking forward to it. And by the way, it can be used in instant replay situations in the case of a
These
challenge.
are superstars.
Eye vision. If you're wondering what it is, this is what it looks like.
You got a pass rush.
It's
Quarterback.
little jaggy, but in real life, in real run, it's not this jaggy. I think this is because
Makes
this
it easy for a
system is
quarterback
slow.
is to have a clean line of sight. Watch Trent Dilfer. Nice look off. Looks to his left, and nobody in front of him. Look at that nice lane. He can see the receiver down the field. And what a throw.
Yeah, it's real run. It is not smooth. This is halftime film.
Brian Billick.
See, that's what happened. Now, this is really a significant system. As I said, that individual camera is a robot with a Mitsubishi Heavy Industry that about, I think, $8,000 or so, and the lens costs another 8,000-ish. So the one system is probably $20,000. We used 30 of them, so the whole system is $6 million. And the cable from each camera to the control station is 150 meters. So cables alone is a 20-kilometer system. It's a big system. Okay? And the best of all is, Super Bowl is a big deal. If you want to have your commercial for 1 second, it costs about $100,000 1 second. See, I was there 25 seconds. It was a contract, part of the contract, explicitly written between Carnegie Mellon and CBS broadcast station. Clause 6, it says, in the event of this system used in Super Bowl, Dr. Takeo Kanade must appear with his name and title clearly shown. You see, my title is shown during the broadcast of Super Bowl for 25 seconds. See, I was there. So since then, I claim I'm the only professor that has ever appeared on Super Bowl. This record has not been broken yet. I'm the only one still. So that was how it was done. Now, so as you said, I had a lot of fun of doing this kind of thing. For each topic, if I begin to talk, probably I need a whole day. Now, if I ask you, what is your wish as a researcher? Most people say, I want to do good research. Good research. Now, if you ask, though, what is good research? Answer is pretty difficult. What is good research? Is it the research that create what? Money? That has a paper, which has a big citation, or etc. Now, at Carnegie Mellon, late Professor Alan Newell, very famous and very respected professor, he said very, I think, deep, insightful thing about good research. He said, good research must respond to real phenomena or real problems. So in other words, you have to solve real problems, not concocted problems, real problem that exists. Number two, good science is in the details. In other words, doing just overall things that you can do. As a professional, you have to really do the details and make sure that it has a reason to work and so forth. Yeah. So take care of the details. And the third, the real test of whether you did good research or not is good science makes a difference. In other words, did your research make any difference in the world? Positive difference, hopefully. If so, how, even when it is small, if it did make a difference, because thanks to your research, then it's a good research. Otherwise, it may not. In other words, in a much simpler word, it must be useful, it must be used, and it must generate impact. I think that's what Professor Newell said. Now, my own observation is about successful research is, in order to do successful research, I think the key is whether you can create a scenario, successful scenario. In other words, if you want to do some research, can you picture the success and said, if this work, research, is successful, what will happen? Where and how will it be used? And thanks to what I did, what will happen? How people use, what happened? Can you imagine that? If you can imagine it, then probably it's a good start. Then if that you can do it, then you begin to think freely and you can expand the story. If you expand the story tends to become fun. If you become fun, then you want to talk to other people naturally. See, you cannot make it secret. If you have a good idea, don't you think you want to tell it to other people? That's a good thing to do. Tell other people. What's the effect of that? Then other people can join. However smart, however active you are, what one person can do is very limited. So important thing is to have other people work on it. Indeed, the reason that we write paper, we give a presentation of our research is nothing but to have the readers or listeners think, oh, that's a good research. I want to do the same thing. Or, oh, that's a good approach. Even though I am doing a little bit different things, but that approach is a good approach. I'd like to do the same approach. See, likewise, other people can join your effort. That's the reason why we write papers, not because you want to have another line in your CV, right? Okay. So that iVision is one of the example of many camera systems. Not many systems, but many camera systems that use many cameras. And I can tell you, I want to tell a little bit about the history of those ideas. In late 80s, research on virtual reality on display was really, really popular. So at that time, the virtual reality artificial world, that thing was people want to display with a head mount display or cave so that people were immersed in that artificial world and get some exciting experience. And so everybody was working on that. At that time, head mount display, unlike today's HMD, is terrible. It was really heavy. If you put it, it's like this, and then the viewing, the angle is only about 60 degrees, so it was not really fun. Still, people working on it. I worked on that too. Okay. Now, I was wondering why people want to do that. I thought the reason that people want to do is there's a real reality which corresponds to that artificial reality. And then in that world, you actually want to do simulation or experiment. Experiment. But that experiment may be very difficult. And that's why you want to do this virtual reality. For example, what happens in, say, nuclear accident? Now, you cannot actually cause a nuclear accident. What should we do if that building is not there? You cannot deconstruct that building. So I want to do experiments on Mars. Now today, you can barely go to Mars, okay, or human not yet. Okay? So in real reality, it's not easy to do experiment. That's why you want to do virtual reality where you want a simulation. If that's the case, I thought, isn't it more as important to model real world into artificial world, as well as display virtual world to real world? Okay, so I created the word virtualized reality. Very mouthful word, virtualized reality. Yeah, and then I said, well, this virtualization is as important as display, realization. Now, today's term is nothing but digital twin. See, I was not a native English speaker, so I could not come up with digital twin. Only word I could come up with, virtualized reality. It's too mouthful. Even native speakers had a hard time to pronounce, so this word was not popular. So too bad. If I were native speakers, I should have come up with this word. However, you should never say the kind of things that I am telling you. In other words, gee, that's what I did. But, you know, I think that's nothing but sour. Oh, S is lost. Sour grapes. Yeah, sour grapes. There are many Kannades quote, but this is one of them. Who said it first is not important. Who gets there first is. So actually, you have to do it. Okay. So I think it's very important. All right. So indeed we did. We developed our own scanner. Let me see. Yeah, we even built around 1991, built our own LiDAR, or at that time we called LiDAR, laser radar. Yeah, and you see Canaveral's rocket launcher visualization. It was pretty, interesting system. And at that time, it was one of the best systems. It could generate 125,000 points per second, up to 60 meter. So 4 million points. But now, of course, today you can do the same thing in real time. At that time, this was one of the best. And let me see. We even went to Egypt, Kings Valley, to do modeling, things like this. It's so slow, it's not good. Yeah, like this. At that time, it was a .com time. So we thought this scanner was so good. So we should be able to make a big money. So we actually founded a company. It's taking so long, too bad. Okay. And we thought, according to our business plan, first year we sell 1 unit, second year 10 unit, third year 100, fourth year 1,000, fifth year we are millionaires. We actually could sell only one system, only one in the whole life. And everybody was so impressed with the system, really, at that time. Okay. But as soon as we tell them it's $300,000 per unit, everyone said, back off, and nobody could win. And I could sell only to my students in Japan who was in Canon had a large research dollars, so I sold 1 unit to him. And I claim I'm the best, business person to sell. Then one of my friends said, Dr. Kanade, that's not called sale, it's called coercing. Well, anyway, you could tell me. But and then we began to do a little different things like this, modeling of a famous building and so forth. Yeah. But these things cannot do moving, changing world, digitization. How come? Why it doesn't change? It's okay here. Yeah. All right. So in order for that, we began to build real-time stereo that can generate a depth image, 200 by 200 at that time, 8 bits at 30 frames per second. So today's term, it's called RGBD camera, yeah? RGBD camera. We built one at that time. This was 1992-ish time. It cost $3 million to build that system. $3 million. It's a big system. It's consumed 5 kilowatts. As soon as you turn it on, the whole room was hot. And now, as you know, today the same thing you can do with less than $100. Okay, but at that time it's a cost $3 million, and it took almost 3 years to build this whole thing. It's a big system. And so using this, we thought, if we can have it, then in addition to just capture 3 dimensions from one viewing angle, we should be able to, model the whole thing. Okay, so here's our imagination. Like this room, I used to say in talk at that time, whenever you come here, say, in this room, I can put cameras all over there and then get the whole thing digitized. And this is our imagination of, surgery room where a famous surgeon is doing surgery. The whole thing is captured, and medical students can observe how the surgeon is from anywhere he likes. And at that time, even we did not have a DVD. So it says CD-ROM at that time. Yeah. And do it in offline. And then if you do this in real time, you can put 100,000 or 10,000 or million students throughout the world, medical students in that surgical room. Okay. So that was our scenario. And as soon as, oops. Oh, yes, okay. And then as soon as we think our hallmark is just build one. So we built with a 51 system, yeah, with the 51 cameras. And that the time when Dr. PJ Narayanan was with me, and you see, this is PJ. He was, and we call it PJ in meditation. So that kind of thing we were demonstrating. This system was really interesting. 50 camera system. I actually called up my friends Panasonic, my classmate, and then asked him, please send me all the video cameras that you can afford to me. And then he did. He sent me 51 cameras. So I used 51 cameras and put there, as well as plus 50, same number of video tape recorder. Younger people may not know video tape recorder. Video was recorded on the tape, video tape recorder. The reason is at that time, still digital camera was not available. So camera was analog. So in order to digitize, you need a called digitizer, which cost about $8,000 around that time, I remember. So 51 camera, digitizers alone will cost you $400,000 US, big money. More than that, even when you have it, there's no computer which can take all those 51 video into the computer. So we have to, you cannot do that. So the solution is put 51 video tape recorder and records all the video in analog form onto that tape, those tapes. And then after experiment was done, the capture, video capture is done, you take one videotape, put it in digitizer, another one, do this 51 times. Okay, that's experiment. So with a 51 videotape recorder, even starting experiment is really work, because you have to push start buttons of 51 tape recorders. So our students complained, Professor Kanada, you're a robotics professor. You shouldn't have us do this. Why don't you build robots to do this? I said, no. And he said, why? He said, it's obvious. Grad students are a lot cheaper than robots. That was his favorite jokes at that time. So anyway, using this, and then the 4D model, and then you can create virtual basketball scene. And we called it virtualized reality. Let's watch the NBA on the court project. So this didn't happen, but CBS people saw this kind of thing, and then they came asked to do this. And that's how this whole thing occurred. By the way, the paper that the first video rate stereo camera was rejected. Can you believe this? That was the world first, I think, I know, I'm confident, that was the world first complete video rate, 100%, 3-dimension digitizer. We wrote a paper to IEEE PAMI. You use the PAMI, okay? Who have published the paper on PAMI? Yeah? Not yet that many people. Well, it's a good journal, right? We wrote it. It rejected. It says, a device that uses this many unnecessary cameras are too expensive to be useful. Reject. We were so angry that, okay, if you say so, I go to opposite direction. And we began to build 1,000 camera system. And you know what? After this, everybody in the world began to build a big system, almost everywhere in the world, in Japan, in the United States, and industry and academia, everywhere. Okay. So I think at least we made a trend there. And today, as you know, many camera systems use commonly entertainment. A car now has more than 10 cameras, and then even your cell phone has 3. 5 is nothing. And then this is a Meta from Facebook, Pittsburgh, because they have money. This is their multi-camera system. It's an amazing system. It's really good. Beautiful system. When you sit there and do a facial expression like this, it takes all those images. They even put this on a trailer and traveled throughout the United States to capture images of face of many race, many age, all kinds of people, okay, and then collect. One of the use of their use is to use for their head mount display. Now, if you have a head mount display, it's good. You can see a lot of things. The problem is, if you put head mount display, your face is occluded. So other people cannot tell what impression, what facial expression you have, okay? So if these two people are talking each other, they can't tell. You can then look at the face. So what they're doing is they put camera outside of a and the inside as well, and outside camera takes all this part of the image. Inside camera takes this video, and then this part, which is covered by head mount display, the portion that is not observed, but that portion can be constructed using the database. What this part would be, yeah, if this part is that and this part is it. And then by using that, these two people can talk without head mount display. So that's one use of interesting use of that kind of system. One example. Okay, so let me finish my talk with a little bit of idea of what the research is like. Now, we tend to think, students especially, I think, research must be new or difficult. Then I claim newness or difficultness itself does not have value. I think there's one problem in the papers review process, which says creative or new, and I think people have some according to my my view, I think that's a wrong question. As I said, newness is not a really important. Whether it works, whether it does something better than before, that's important. Okay. Oh, indeed, there are a lot of new things which are not used there. Let's see, if you do random thing, bad thing, probably it's new because other people did not try. Yeah. Okay. So newness is not important. Whether it works and whether it does something good, whether it's useful, that's more important. Huh? So one of Kanada's quote, by the way, if I began to quote, I have hundreds of quotes. So I once gave a talk, Kanada's quote. Today, I only showing so far second. This is newness is not virtue. Usefulness is. However, predicting the research value is indeed difficult. So let me give you my final episode of my mistake in evaluating the value of research. In circa early 1980, tracking problem was a very important problem. Still today, it's still important. So here's a pattern, and it moved from here to here. And we want to obtain this displacement, vector u. It moved from here to here, this much, vector u. Horizontally, u, vertically, v, okay? It's called tracking problem. This is very important at that time, still important. In driving, it's important how other cars move, other people move, and indeed, how the world changes tells you how you're moving. For example, if I move this way, the world appears to move this way. If I move this way, then world appears to move this way. Okay, so it's very important problem. Now, mathematically, formulation of this is relatively simple. So you a small window, and you compare this window with other part of the image, like this, and at each position you can compare a pixel of that value with the value pixel or the value of that pixel, this plus this, and square and sum over the window. And so this is called SSD, sum over squared difference. Yeah. So if these two images are exactly the same, then this should be 0 for each x position. Therefore, this should be 0 at the correct decision. Even if not 0, this should be small. So the problem is to find u that minimize this SSD. Now, even though this is simple, it takes time. The reason is u is outside of f. So the simplest idea, as I said, is to scan the whole, but if you do this, it takes a long time. Early 1980, especially, it was too late, too slow. Even today, by the way, it's still fairly computationally expensive, because you need to do this not for one pattern, but for all positions, because you want to know where each point in the previous image moved to that. So you have to apply this for everywhere in this picture. Okay. Now, I had a student at that time. His name is Bruce Lucas. And he came to me and said, Takeo, I got a good idea, he said. This is simple, he said, because it's a tracking problem. U must be small, yeah? Must be small. If u is small, then this function fx plus u can be expanded with the Taylor expansion and just chop with the first order, because if u is small, u square is small. U, as you know, there's a third term, fourth term for u square, u cube. Okay, but if u is small, those should be small, so they can be neglected. So, now u is outside of this parenthesis, so it's now outside. So if you put this into this equation, because u is outside, this is nothing but quadratic equations of u. Minimizing quadratic equation is high school math. We know au squared plus bu plus c, minimum occurs at u equal minus b over 2a. High school student can do. Huh? So you can do the same thing here. Since this is second order, since this is two-dimensional problem, it's a little more complicated, but idea is the same. So this is the answer. And he said, Kyo, I wrote the program, it works, he said. Moreover, u need not to be small. Even when u is fairly large, you smooth the image and apply this once, and you get estimate of u, and then shift the image, and you do it again a couple of times, then it converges. So it works, he said. And he was so anxious to write a paper. So he told me, Takeo, we should write a paper. This is good. I was not as enthusiastic, because I told Bruce, Bruce, you used technique that's known for 300 years. Taylor expansion has been known for 300 years, so it's not new. Moreover, you used high school math in combination, and you got the result. So using 300 years old technique and high school math, It's not new, it's not difficult. You know, Takeo Kanade was already pretty famous at that time. So if you write a paper with my name on, see, my reputation might be ruined. So I don't want that. But he was so, insistent. So I finally gave in and said to Bruce, okay, you can write a paper, but make sure to write a paper in a very obscure place so that not many people read paper. And he did. The paper has never written in any journal like PAMI and so forth. It's written only in Ichikai and DAPA Image Understanding Workshop, only two. No journal paper. The result, more than 19,000 references, and it is used most and standard textbook algorithm that everybody uses today. And indeed, when I go to even, for example, biomedical department, and I give a talk, and the students come to me and said, Dr. Kanade, are you Kanade of Lucas Kanade? I said, yes. And they said, oh, we use it. So I found that even biomedical students know me, thanks to Bruce. Yeah. So if Bruce listened to me at that time and did not write a paper with me, today I may not be here to give an invited talk. And since then, whenever I come to university, my advice to students is, if your professor says your work is not good, it must be good. Make sure you write a paper on it. So that's my advice. So I think the final point is it's very important to conceive and formulate a good problem. So the problem matters, not solution. See? John Dewey said, philosopher, problem will put is half solved. Einstein said, if I had an hour to solve a problem, I'll use 55 minutes to think about the problem and 5 minutes for solution. I think this is very important, especially today. I was telling this morning, today, because thanks to AI and all AI tools, almost any problems can be solved to a certain extent, no matter how you do. Even when you do a very wrong approach, even the wrong approach, completely bogus approach, it still does a certain thing. Thanks to actually the structure the problem has. Problem has some structure. Okay? It's not a random. So whatever you have data related to the problem, the data has some structure. So when you deal with it by, deep learning and then learn, then naturally you get some answer, even when your approach is completely wrong. Okay. See? So make sure that you think about the problem enough and get the right approach. Because these famous people said something, I thought I have to add something too. So I added, mine is a little more detailed. There are many problems that are solvable, but only few are useful. There are many useful problems, but only few are solvable. You have to come up with one that intersects. I think this is the secret of doing good research. You see, unless you solve it, it's not value. Unless it's useful, solution is useless. Okay, so make sure you do this. Okay, so finally, after all, important is set up a good problem with a scenario. Enjoy research with fun and speed. Create what works in the real world. then it makes impact and people will be convinced. Final Takeo's quote. Kanare's ultimate quote. Takeo Kanare tells to his students, you know, when you go to a conference and give a talk, if somebody asks you, praises, your method is interesting. I really want to know how it works. I think you're happy, right? Have you had this experience? I think you would be very happy. But I have to say, they're not yet convinced. If they were, they would ask different question. They would ask, how much is it? You see, in other words, if they're convinced they want to use it, that's real test. I think this is more common day word meaning of what Professor Alan Newell said. Can it make difference? People want to use it. Okay. And I think there are many problems awaiting for you to solve. So make sure you solve a good problem and make impactful research. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Takeo, for such a fantastic talk. And all the students are still here and they're also standing. So thank you very much for this talk. I don't want to say too much more and take away from the high that he left all of us in. Only thing I'd say, I'll tell you this morning, he was little tired, we felt, or yesterday when he came, people who received you said maybe you're a little tired. So he came, instead of 10 o'clock, he came at 11 o'clock. And then I left him with our student, the CVIT students at 11:30. And then I thought I'll take him to lunch at 1:15 or so. I went to the room. He was talking to students. He said, no, I don't want any lunch. I want to continue talking. Then he talked till 2:40, 3 hours. And when I came back, when I sat for the last 10-15 minutes of the talk, because I thought I would take him out at 2:30 or 2:15, I went in and he was arguing with the student. No, this problem is, no, he said, I haven't heard of this problem. And now it's how important is it? Then, of course, this problem being worked on at that point was my student explaining the problem. Then I tried to say also how important it is, but he's still not convinced. He said, show me a practical occasion where this happened. Theoretically, problem is very good, but where is it? Has there been a record in the world that this happened? Now you are trying to, this is about backdoor defense on some images and so on. He says, backdoor defense is great, but are there been any real situation where such an attack was used? Now my job is to find that out. He gave me a problem today after many years. So thank you very much. I'm sure the students are very happy about spending, and I told the robotics students, he's going to meet the robotics students tomorrow. So you need to be up on all your theory and practice and all the explanation that you heard here. How useful is it? Not just how you are solving it, how that you have solved it. So thank you very much.
Thank you
for this talk, and this is a very small gift from us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to Oh, campus. Yeah. I studied in his undergrad university in India. So I knew it was already like 3 years now. So yeah, so it's fantastic to finally reconnect again because I'm in Hyderabad for a week and I got to know that you're here. So quickly I came, I dropped everything and came here. Okay. So say thank you. That's good. My one quick question I have is in relation to curriculum. Right? Because I mean, you were pioneer in the classical computer vision and then when I interviewed for Uber, my assignment, the test in the interview was the Lucas Canada tracker to implement that. So I got a job essentially because of it, thanks to that. But now when we are looking at skilling people in computer, what would you suggest as like a new curriculum? Because it's the world's changed and people, I think the applications have only gone up. So what would you suggest as like a different curriculum?
That's a tough question.
question.
A big
So
one.
this is what how we are approaching it right now. So if we have like a minute to give quick, because we're doing the intro, low level vision, mid level vision, segmentation, classification, detection,